Hello and welcome back to episode 44 of The Sinking City. I'm Vic and you're watching yet another Let's Play channel. And I'm sorry to say that we will not be finding... Oh, she flushed herself down the toilet. That's... whatever. Oh man, she was everywhere, wasn't she? She was in the bathtub. Oh, and not all of her parts made it. That's going to be a problem. For somebody. Anyway, yeah, we will not be making good on any promises of immortality, or silent pipes, or any of the rest of it. But we will be fighting some more wild beasts? Maybe? They're around here somewhere. Let's figure out where our next letter is. 4 more to go. I can't help but turn around at any noise after what I saw yesterday. On Murdoch Avenue and Western Avenue, near Oak Street. There we go. Western Advent. Murdoch and Oak. There's Oak. And there's Murdoch. That's quite close to City Hall, isn't it? Not a good place for people to be spookified. I think I already, yeah. I hope that wild beast is trapped behind the water tank. That would be funny. Well, I'll tell you where it's not. And that is in front. Delete. Phone booth. I was thinking about those guys that walk around with backpacks full of human body parts. Can you imagine doing that in town today? It would not go well for you, would it? You'd get some very dirty looks and then dogpiled by the police. If not dogpiled by other people before the police even had a chance. But these guys, they just walk around half covered in blood and possibly other filth, carrying around human remains. And everybody's just like, yep, that's normal here. Corpses get lost at the graveyard. Body parts turn up all over town. It's nobody's fault. Carrying them around is just life, as usual. So around here somewhere is our next stop. I think Milton Pierce has been hanged. Not that I know anything about why or whether it was wrongful. I certainly didn't arrange for him to be convicted of a crime that he tried to pin on me. It's gotta be this one. Yes, it's this one. And they're already busy. Well, where are they busy? Oh, good. It looks like there's a downstairs this time. Come on, then. Yeah. Is there something under my mouse? Might have to check that. Oh. Oh, Charles, I would like it if you would reload a little faster, please. Alright. Job's done. And he's fallen into the basement before he tries to disappear into the floor. Have a nice fall. Come on. Whatever. Reload, please. Thank you. Upstairs, as usual? Yes? Glad you agree. Switch back to the shoddy. My dear Clara, it's been years since we last saw each other, and I still can't sleep without looking at the picture you sent me of your family. I wish I had something to show, but pictures of this place would only bring you nightmares. What was I thinking when I left our hometown? I fear that I might be losing my sanity. You remember Dumont, my neighbor that works at the docks? I mentioned him in previous letters. He was always a good friend, but I don't know what happened. He started screaming in the middle of the night, chanting about lost cities and saying strange words. I was never a religious man, but I don't know how to explain his condition through science. I see strange things each time I look out the window, and I don't know if they are really there or if it's just my mind playing with the mist. Somehow, the mad words of my friend start to make more sense each time I look at those wild and incomprehensible shapes. I'll return home as soon as I have enough money to do so. I hope to survive all this. Your beloved brother, Victor. Well, sorry about that, bud. I don't think you made it. Let's go ahead and top off, since there's one right there. Is there like a soft cap on, oh, that was probably Victor, wasn't it? Well, you run at me with a gun. I don't know what you expect. Is there a soft cap on the healing from the first aid kits? I feel like they never actually fill me all the way up. I beg your pardon. Okay, down to the basement. I don't know what that guy was doing just standing there. Not attacking. Not dodging around. He's probably waiting for his buddy with the shotgun to come back. I would really like it if I walked into one of these basements and there was something like this, and then a tall boy just, like, popped out from underneath the cloth. That would be a fun little surprise. Or if the cloth just collapsed to the floor and there was nothing underneath it, that would also be very exciting. Okay. And now there are only 3 more. So we've got Terrible Fetus. And it is in Western Reed Heights, Washington, between Iban and Oak. So there's Iban, and there's Washington, and there's Oak, so it's there-ish. Well, I'm pretty confident that we're not going to encounter a fetus any more terrifying than the one we saw in Resident Evil 8. Everyone agrees that baby is awful. In fact, it may well be just straight up the worst part of all of Resident Evil 8. I'm probably not alone in saying that. Oh wow, that was... I didn't deliberately just go straight here, actually. I assumed I was going to have to find me a... What is that? You see... What are those green lines? There's nothing in this era that would be making a bright green like that. It was like... I don't know what that is. What was I talking about? I do not remember. Anyway, our quest is around here. There. It's right there. As always. Oh. What are those? Are those handprints? It's quite interesting the way they walk up the wall in pairs like that. Tall boys do that. They have lots of hands. What's over here? Back alley? Some kind of courtyard? Huh. I don't think I've ever been in a courtyard in Oakmont before. Alright, up the stairs it is. So we must be in some kind of hospital something, right? Yeah. Look at that. It walks on the floor and it walks on the wall. Yes, I do hear that. And then it walks upstairs through a hole in the ceiling. So that's one way up. What's out here? Nice little balcony. Is this the same layout as the hospital, the actual hospital? It's pretty close if it's not exactly the same. Look at those guys. Who's got time to sit around and draw diagrams of these things that I'd never seen before? Why haven't I had to fight this fucker? Why am I complaining that I didn't have to fight that fucker? Uh-huh. I was following those markings in the wrong direction, wasn't I? They didn't go up this way. They came down from here. My dearest comfort, if my scrawl is an illegible scribble, forgive me. The shock of what I have delivered from the poor young woman's womb has affected my nerves. Where did terrified come from? Her guttural screams still ring in my ears, and her birth tragedy lurks near where I hide. Had my attendant not been attacked first, I would have certainly shared her fate. The wriggling abomination that erupted from the waif's belly leapt from her body and attached itself to the nurse's throat with a wet smacking sound. Pulled behind it, the taut umbilical cord tore out the placenta, and an eruption of bright blood that soaked my gown. Stunned, I looked into the mother's bulging eyes as she convulsed and bit off her tongue between her clenched, grinding teeth. Falling backward in horror, I scrambled behind a medical cabinet in the operating theater. I now hear the sloshing movement of the afterbirth, sliding across the floor as the terrible infant silently approaches. I write this account on my surgical mask, with the sturdy pen you gifted me last year, near the Oakmont Commons. May it now serve faithfully as my only weapon against the deformed babe. Sincere thanks, Sebastian. Well, the pen seems to be stuck in a human being's face. So, I don't know about all that. And I'm guessing that the babby is going to pop up somewhere. Should we follow its tracks down? Oh, it went outside. Oh, that's good. Outside is a fine place for it to be. I don't think we need to concern ourselves with that. Let's just double check that it is done, though. It is. On to the next one. Local Innsmouthers scare me a lot. I've never seen a place with so many ill people. Their faces pursue me even in visions. Okay, Grimhaven Bay, Whisper Street, and Hubert Avenue. Get rid of that. Grimhaven, Whisper, and what was it? and Hubert. Oh, it's deep in an infestation. Good. We haven't played an infestation in a while, have we? Phone booth, please. Back across the university. Fine. Well, it's getting very close now. Have you decided what you want me to do when it's time for me to make that terrible choice? I hope you have, because I want to make sure that I disappoint you when I pick whatever you didn't. It's really important to me that when I do that, you leave me some comments, because, to be honest, the bots are really boring. And also, Google usually deletes their comments almost immediately, which makes me feel kind of neglected. And it's the holiday season, you know, so I shouldn't have to feel neglected. So write me some hate mail already. It's not that hard. Off we go to Grimhaven Bay. Well, look at that. Back to the old hotel. Kind of interesting that a game that has sanity as a mechanic doesn't seem to be at all concerned with sleep deprivation. I mean, maybe they just felt like it would be too disruptive to the flow of play to have to go back to the hotel and have a nap. But it's an interesting sort of dichotomy. Might be an example of that ludonarrative dissonance thing that I keep hearing about. Alright, you know what? Bullet for you. And then a Molotov. That's right. And Thompson for you. More Thompson, that's fine. And reload it. You can also have a rifle round. And here we go. I'm definitely less impressed with the infested areas than I used to be. Having a submachine gun will do that. Am I right? Can't carry any more gunpowder. That's just silly. Much better. Okay. Where are you going? Oh. Oh, cornered. Now blow up your friends. Oh, yeah. And you, stop that. Screaming. So rude. You're going to wake up the neighbors, and they're going to complain to their landlord, and then cut themselves into pieces and flush themselves down the toilet. And the sewer workers, frankly, do not need that kind of complication in their lives. Reassembling people from their pieces and making them immortal is a lot of work, and they're not paid for that kind of effort. Might as well, right? And for once, see, look at that. It didn't fill it all the way up, even though we were like 75% full already. there must be some kind of soft cap. And for once, the goodies are going to be in the basement. Along with a absolutely disgusting film of filth on the floor. Excuse me. Here we go. Nice. Got a little altar. And the notes right there on the altar. Obed Marsh Diary. 21 March 1856, New South Wales. On that day we arrived near Ball's Pyramid, a giant rock around 2,000 feet high extending from the sea. The air is poisoned all around it, and you can barely see the tip of the monolith. The catch is good here, and brought us more gold. I have to give them 2 slave women we bought in Sumatra. Wretches were terrified when they saw them. Good riddance. We landed on Lord Howe Island, a few nautical miles away, for fresh water and fruit. The Hetty dinghy was put at sea at 8:15 a.m. Last time we were here, in 1847, there were 3 settlers and their aboriginal wives. This time only the women remained, and they were not the same. Tattooed, their eyes were red with blood, and dead animal carcasses were strewn around the camp. They slept on the floor beside the corpses. We drank and danced with them, and one played a strange musical flute, with sounds we never heard before. One of them took me to her hut. While I was at it between her legs in the dark, Matthews came with a torch, and I could see that above me the dead husband was hooked to the roof, the skin over his face dried like a 100-year-old apple. Bones and clothes he was, his mouth open and distorted in an endless shout. I can still see his eyes, alive and rolling, looking at me. The witch was laughing hard while wiping her thighs, all her teeth filed to a point like a wolf or a shark. We fled this cursed place, leaving the witches behind. Yeah, well, that's a cool story and all, but I would think that when you discovered that the Aboriginal wives were covered with tattoos and their eyes were red with blood, you might decide that maybe banging them is not a good idea. I mean, I've never been a sailor at sea for years at a time, so maybe I don't truly appreciate desperation. But, yeah, I think I would have passed on that one. Find somebody else to smash. Last one. Lullaby Crossroad. Coverside, Tanner and Old Church. Old Church. Where the hell is Tanner? That could have been more descriptive, I think. Oh, we're still in the infested zone. And I'm just lackadaisically walking around. I don't care, guys. I really don't. I got places to go, things to do, and disgusting stories about men with no standards to read. And you guys, frankly, aren't even in the way. You're just a distraction. How close are we? Getting distracted by the wrong one. Alright, so we'll go this way, back to the hotel, and the phone booth there, and then we'll hop over to our last stop. And there it is. Probably could have just walked it, but we're here, so we're doing it. That way? That way. Yeah. Spent a lot of time in this neighborhood in the early game when I was farming for supplies before I realized how easy it was to just replenish on the run. I guess the thing is that when you're all kitted out and you've got a nice big reservoir of bullets to draw from, and you're doing side quests that are pretty generous with replenishing you, it's easy to resupply. But when I was doing the main quest, it did not seem that generous. And that really was the problem, wasn't it? Brick. Okay, so there is an infestation right here. I think there's a pretty good chance we're going to go in there. Near... Yeah. Not a lot of description there. So let's... It's definitely not that. So let's head in and see what we can see. Alright, you actually are in the way, so you can have some bullets. Look at the spread on that thing. And there's a perk I can pick up to make it spread even more. It's ridiculous. No, the other one. There we go. Can't believe people actually want this shotgun to have more spread. Seriously, give me a perk I can take. Oh, I took that perk, didn't I? Because I was just grabbing everything in sight. Maybe it's not here after all. Yeah, I think we're pretty far off our charter at this point. So I guess it's not in here after all. So where is it then? Is it that door right there? That weird shiny door? Why is that door so shiny? Pretty far off the intersection at this point. What kind of lunatics don't put numbers on their houses? Like, this is no way to run a town. It's just not. I mean, when you sign a contract for a lease, how do you designate the unit that you're renting? When you title the house, how do you uniquely identify it? It doesn't make any sense. And it's obliged to make sense, so shut up. Okay, here we go. Plenty of stuff in here. This feels a little familiar. But yeah, I remember shooting off my mouth about huge stacks of firewood. But I don't think it was here. I mean, this has to be the place, right? Is it in here? Somebody is nearby. I like the way that door closed when I started looking at it. Have a grenado. Okay. We all good here? You done? You look done. Alright, well, the bathroom is an ordinary amount of disgusting, so that's good. Up to the 3rd floor, I suppose. There she is. Oh. What's up, dude? A little nap? That's cool, I'm just gonna check out this letter. The recipe was left to me by my grandmother, and when Lily was little I used it quite often. A couple of drops in her milk and she slept sweetly all night. My husband and I finally had a little time for each other. Of course, that was long ago, and since then I haven't needed Grandma's sleeping elixir. But now everything's changed. It was 2 days ago that Bill barricaded the windows because we could not bear to see the corpses on the street. We're locked in and we're out of food. The worst are the nights. Impossible to sleep because of the squeals of death and other terrible sounds. We should flee, but there's nowhere to go. I'm afraid as fate draws near that we'll end up like the Bakers. I do not want this for my little Lily. While my husband barred the entrance, I made my grandmother's tea. Lily drank her dose and went to bed, and Bill's getting faint too. It's time for me to join them. Good night, Oakmont. Yeah, all things considered, I'm not sure I blame them. Too bad they couldn't go to sleep together, though. And, where exactly is Lily? Anyway, we are all out of time for episode 44, so I think we're just going to let that question go, and in episode 45 we will be resuming the main storyline. Talk to you soon.